Welcome to Tech Tuesday on the Final Boss podcast, where innovation meets attitude, and the future gets decoded one byte at a time. I'm your host, Turbo the CEO, and your co-host, Mike Foth. And today we're diving deep into the tech trenches to uncover the tools, trends, and truths shaping tomorrow. Whether you're a code slinger, gadget geek, or just tech curious, this is your weekly power-up. So grab your controller, plug in, and let's level up.
Welcome to the Final Boss podcast. This is Tech Tuesday, and I am the Final Boss, and he is the Sensei, my co-host, who's always here. He's our SME. People. He's the subject matter expert. And listen, tonight, we have a great show for you, a phenomenal show, a controversial topic with difficult questions and answers, because this is what we do here on the Final Boss podcast. This is what we do, right? So, Sensei, before we get into it, how you feeling, buddy?
Feeling good. Feeling
Good.
rested. Projects are wrapping up before the next one starts. Doing well.
Awesome, man. Like it. Good to hear. So, to my Final Bosses, to my smarts, to my motivators, to my warriors, thank you. Oh, man. Have you seen IG? When you get a chance, go to Turbo CEO, go on the gram, and check out the Turbo the CEO page. And man, we get a lot of good feedback on there. A lot of good feedback. So, people, listen, please continue to send us the feedback, no matter where you see us at, on whatever social media platform you see us, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Tiki, and of course IG, along with Spotify, and soon Apple Podcasts. We're working on that. That should be up and running next week. And also, go check out the website, man. Go check out the website. The URL for the website is http://thefinalbosspodcast, one word. That's http, of course, the : / www.thefinalbosspodcast, one word. That's our official website. You can check all of the shows on there, every last single show, and you can get a brief synopsis about the show and who we are. So go check that out, man. And if you want to send us an email, at info@thefinalbosspodcast.com. That's info, INFO, not FAFO, but INFO at thefinalbosspodcast.com. And this is episode number 134, on our way to 200. And it will be here before you know it. Listen, it would be here before you know it, man. Time is flying. These episodes are running like a comic strip, one after another. So, yes, and per usual, the greeting of the day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to each and every last single one of you, no matter where you are and where you are tuning in at. I am here. We are here. And tonight, we got a great show for you. We're going to be talking about freedom of speech, and with a slight bit of spice, because we're going to be talking about freedom of speech as it relates to social media platforms, right? And we're going to be using code words because we don't want to get banned, right? Or shadow banned more than what we already are, or have active ban notifications, because I got a couple of those. We don't want that. So stay with us. We're going to be using code words for certain words, man. And to my smarts, my motivators, to my warriors, and to my final bosses, you guys know what it is. You know what it is. You're new. You're not new to this. So I think that's it, man. And let's go with the brass tacks. Let's go with tonight's brass tacks. Tonight's brass tacks it's no author on this brass tacks for tonight. But here it is. Without freedom of thought, there could be no such thing as wisdom, and no such thing as public liberty. Without freedom of speech, which is the right of every man, as far as by it, he does not hurt or control the right of another. Now that's a powerful brass tacks right there, man. I almost want to read it again. You think I should read it again, Sensei?
Yes.
Without freedom of thought, there can be no such thing as wisdom, and no such thing as public liberty. Without freedom of speech, which is the right of every man, as far as by it, he does not hurt or control the right of another. And that's our brass tacks for tonight. So you already know, with that brass tacks, tonight's going to be a loaded show. So, ladies and gentlemen, Davids and Dorothys, buckle your seatbelts, because we're getting ready to take you on a wild ride of information. And I hope you're prepared, and you have your writing utensil, your writing devices, and you take good notes, because tonight's going to be a humdinger. A humdinger.
And we're going to try not to get kicked off.
Right. We're going to try not to get kicked off. We always try not to.
Can't help it.
Our tries sometimes go out the window.
Well, I'm representing wearing my Dirty Birds shirt. So, go Seahawks.
Look, if I would have known that, I would have put on a Rams jersey, but I had on a Rams jersey the other night. But next week, do we play next week? I know we play soon. Yeah, we have to talk about that. Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Yep. So, you know who I am. You know who with this. If you're here, this is the Final Boss Podcast, where logic meets chaos and the rules of polite conversation don't apply. Tonight, we're tackling one of the most controversial and misunderstood ideas of our time, right? Freedom of speech. Everyone claims to defend it. Everyone thinks they understand it. But if you actually ask someone to define it, you'll get 10 different answers. Why is that? That's one of the questions we're going to be talking about. So let's start there. What is and what isn't, and why it matters? Sensei, you have the floor, my good man.
Well, you nailed it, right? The biggest misconception is that freedom of speech means freedom from consequence. That's just not true. I mean, in America, the First Amendment protects you from government punishment. Government punishment, not social backlash. I mean, if you say something controversial, did I lose you?
No, you're super loud.
Oh, I'm super loud.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me just come over here and make a quick adjustment because my microphone is
It's sensitive.
Sensitive.
Yeah. What mic is that?
It requires attention. So input system sounds. Come on now.
Okay.
Input device. All right, so let me try not to talk as loud. Is that better?
No, that's perfect right there, sir.
All right,
Right
I'll
there.
just talk a little less animated today.
Okay. No, we need the
So
animation. We need it.
I know. But if
Yeah.
you say something controversial online and lose followers or get fired, that's not your constitutional right being violated. Okay?
Mm,
That's life reacting. That's just life.
true.
Constitution doesn't promise you an audience or applause. It
Mm,
only promises you won't be jailed. The government's not going to come and arrest you and put you in jail. I mean, we've blurred the line between liberty and popularity,
right.
right? If and when you do that, you end up with people screaming free speech. And what they
Mm,
really mean is don't hold me accountable. That's all they mean.
mm.
Just don't hold me accountable.
Wow. Wow. You said some really profound stuff there, man. Really profound. Hmm. Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
Oh
you
man.
know, think about that. I
I
mean,
am deeply.
you have to really look at what is a right.
Hmm.
And that's a big difference. People don't understand. They don't even speak the English language anymore. Folks that have been born here and raised here, I mean, they don't even speak the English language because they
That
don't know
part.
what basic words mean.
Right. This is true. And I'm glad you mentioned that because we need to get into the legal backbone of it all. And we can start with the First Amendment, which was written 2 centuries ago.
Mhm.
And let's say Congress said that Congress shall not make no law abridging freedom of speech or of the press. It's almost as if that just the sound of it is elegant but vague. What does that look like in real life?
I mean, in real life, it means the government can't jail you for criticizing it. If you complain about the government, you're protesting, publishing dissenting opinions. If you're out there saying, look, the government's messed up, they don't have it right, they're not going to come knock on your door and send you to jail.
Mm,
I mean, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean you can say anything anywhere without consequence.
mhm,
Okay? Look, you can't make a direct threat. You can't commit fraud. You can't engage in defamation.
mhm,
And if you don't know what that word means, go look it up. And you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. Okay, that you just can't do that because that's
right.
harmful. That's not an
Yeah.
expression. That
Right.
creates harm.
True.
But outside of those narrow limits, the U.S. is pretty hands off compared to the rest of the world.
Mm,
But you have to remember that's intentional.
mhm,
Here's why. The founders believed that the best counter to bad speech is more speech. Hear that. The best
I've heard that.
counter to bad speech is more speech,
Mhm,
not censorship.
mm, man. So when people, excuse me, when people demand silence instead of debate, they're actually undermining the very system that protects them.
Right. Exactly. I mean, freedom of speech isn't supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be
Mhm,
unfiltered reality. And that's where real growth
right.
happens. It doesn't happen because your words hurt my feelings. Look, we've always heard growing up, and I don't think the young kids have heard this, sticks and stones can break my bones. You follow me?
Mhm.
But words can't hurt me, right?
Yep. That's a great policy to follow. Still.
And I don't even know that I said that right because I always know the dirty version of that. So my bad.
You got that right, man. But
Did I
look,
get it right? Did I get it right?
you got it right. But where does it actually apply?
Well, I mean, it's public places,
Mhm.
government buildings, during your protests, streets, in the streets with journalism. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but words never hurt me. Gotcha. I got it right. Okay. So it does not apply. And here's where the people get messed up with it. It does not apply in private domains like your workspace,
Right.
a social media platform,
Mm-hmm.
or private campuses. This is where the confusion hits hard because people think I have free speech anytime, any place, anywhere I'm at. No, you don't.
Mm.
You don't. All right. We've said this before. Do you pay for your Facebook? No.
No.
Do you
No.
pay for your
Wait.
Instagram?
No.
No. So if you don't pay for it, you have to
You
play by
are.
the rules that
Yes.
somebody else has set out. It's their platform, their
Mm-hmm.
rules. If you don't want to live by the rules, get off the platform.
Correct.
Look,
Correct.
it's this. You might think it feels like it's a public environment, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
This is private real estate. They own the microphone. They make the rules.
Right.
You think of it this way. If you walk into a restaurant, you can talk. But if you start shouting obscenities, the owner can ask you to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You always see the sign, we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. You see that anywhere you go in public. Why is that? Because they're allowed to kick you out of their private establishment. You don't
Yep.
own their property. The government's not owning their property.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the problem is our social lives and even our politics now, they unfold on corporate servers.
Right.
So when you get deplatformed, it feels like being erased from public life.
Mm.
And that's where the tension comes from. The legal right versus
Mm-hmm.
digital reality. They are not the same.
Right.
They are
Yeah.
seriously not the same. See, that's completely different. It's as different as night and day. And you
Absolutely.
can't get some people to understand it. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
I can say what I want to say. Well, if you work for a company and you say some things that that company doesn't like,
Mm-hmm.
they have the right to can your butt.
Indeed, they do.
And this has been happening.
Yeah.
Lately, this has happened a lot because
A
people
lot.
came out and said some things in support of some violence that shouldn't have happened. That we should
Mm-hmm.
all say, if you don't stand up and say that violence is wrong, then you're complicit. And if you actually say that that was okay and justified, your company that you work for has every right to fire you.
Yeah.
You don't have a right to just say nasty, hurtful things. Not to where it's going to reflect the company. You follow me? You work
Yeah.
for a company. What you say in public reflects upon them. And if
Yeah.
they allow you to say that in that public environment, they are by default supporting that position.
Mm-hmm.
And so the companies are out there going, we've had enough. We're done. You don't get to say things that are nasty anymore. You can take your opinions and keep it to yourself. Just don't be employed here.
Yep. Now, you just said something that was very interesting a few moments ago. You mentioned private real estate. Private real estate. Now, in America, America's model is unique from the rest of the world. Most countries don't have this kind of open-ended protection.
Right. And you can look up right now current events. I'm talking not hypothetical, happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're hate incident reports.
Mm-hmm.
So that if somebody files a hate incident against you, whether you did it or not, it doesn't matter. They just got to make the accusation. The police can file even if no crime occurred. Just because somebody felt offended, they can come and arrest you. No crime was committed. This happens right now in UK. It's a hate incident. Go look it up. It is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I was reading about
And now, if you think that one's bad,
Mm-hmm.
go to Canada. They have hate speech, is what they term hate speech, is illegal under broad definitions. Now, think about this broad definitions. Who's the defining factor? Who defines what's considered hate speech or not?
Right.
And now we've said in the United States, all speech is protected. And it doesn't matter if you like it or not, and if it's uncomfortable or not, it doesn't matter. Because if you start to censor and say you can't do that, then what's happening? Right? So in Germany, you
Yep.
criminalize the World War II events. If you deny that that happened, that's a criminal offense in Germany. But see, these laws are written with good intentions. And they've always heard the phrase, the pathway to hell is full of good intentions. Okay? You
Yeah.
start out thinking this is going to be a good thing, and what ends up happening? It gets out of control.
Correct.
Look, the intention is prevent harm. But the problem is they put interpretation in the hands of the state.
Ah.
Now it's in the hands of a bureaucrat who doesn't report to anyone, and they hide behind the door. And this is the thing, they hide in the shadows, and they can say and do whatever they want, and they can have their own political bias. And if you're a political enemy, you now have hate speech. So, and once the government starts defining what speech is considered acceptable, it
Yeah.
never stops. It doesn't just stop, because now it's got its foothold in, and it's like a cancer, and it spreads.
And it's broad.
Right, because then what happens is what today is hateful, tomorrow the thing next to it's hateful, until suddenly all speech is hateful.
Yeah.
Because in America, even hateful, stupid, or offensive speech is legal. Because
And then-
once you let power define what's too offensive, you've already lost your freedom. You no longer have the freedom if somebody else can define to you what's offensive.
Sounds dystopian to me. And here comes the thought police.
And here comes the thought police. And we have talked about that with the advent of our massive digital surveillance was happening. They almost got us banned for talking about it.
Yeah.
With that kind of technology, then your thoughts can be predicted, and the thought police, literally the thought police, can come knocking.
Wow. Look, that's a whole nother rabbit hole that, man, we could go down and talk about, man, and drop all types of references for our viewers. But man, this is where we are, the digital dilemma. And speaking of fast forward, speech isn't just about governments anymore, right? It's about platforms. Who owns the platforms? It's about algorithms and those mobs, i.e., some of the echo chambers, right, that are being monitored. The public square is digital now. Think about that. The public square is digital. How has that changed things?
So, pretty much right now, the United States is the only country that protects your right to be an idiot. Okay, you can say stupid stuff, and that's okay.
Wait,
right?
Hold on.
So far.
Hold on. That needs an evil laugh.
And the thing is, that's a feature, not a flaw.
Right.
Because when offensive speech is out in the open, it can be challenged, it can be debated, it can be debunked because it's out there.
Right.
But in the countries that suppress it, it goes underground and it festers and it grows, and it's like getting an infection. You get a splinter in your finger and suddenly you got this big swollen infection. Why? Because you didn't pull the splinter out. And that's what happens, right? This has flipped the entire dynamic. Everyone's a publisher. Nobody's responsible for what they publish. Nobody challenges anything, because if you do, you get labeled. Right? Social media has turned communication into competition. The louder and the angrier you are, the more the algorithm rewards you.
Wait, Sensei. Say that one more time.
Social media has turned communication into competition.
And there it is, people. That part right there.
Because everybody's chasing the clicks. They're chasing the clicks. And what dominates the clicks? What dominates timelines? Outrage. So the system is going to reward you for saying things that are outrageous. If you're a voice of calm, then no, that's not going to be rewarded. But here's the thing: we've talked about the system and how it modulates to keep things in a certain spectrum. It
Right.
wants to push the edge, kind of, but it doesn't want to keep pushing it. It wants to kind of bump up against it to guide you into the thought pattern that it wants you to be guided into, but then it wants to calm it down a little bit. So it's going to inflame you and then calm you down,
Right.
inflame you and then make you watch football, get you
Mm.
mad about your taxes, and then you can watch soccer.
You know, that really pisses me off because it's part of the framework. And this is from people, this is my point, this is my point of view, right? That can be utilized as part of the framework for this social credit system where social media has a value that makes you want to agitate, irritate, and cause chaos, and you get paid for it.
And it will do it because if you play by that
Yeah.
set of rules, if
Mm-hmm.
you're the
Mm-hmm.
opposing viewpoint, you
Yeah.
get demerited. But if
Yeah.
you're falling in line with that perspective, you're going to get
Right.
rewarded. It's
Yes.
like if you start to really dig into these protests that are going on,
Mm.
a good chunk of the people that are organizing and running these protests that are all over the country are paid.
Yeah.
Follow the money. They're
I just,
paid.
yep.
So they're being rewarded to go out
Mm-hmm.
there and spread vile hate,
Yeah.
and they're being rewarded for it because they're getting paid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
The episode on Sunday night was about protests. Absolutely.
mhm,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what we built isn't a space for dialogue. This is an emotional casino. The house always wins, and the currency is rage. The house always wins. Even if you think I am outraged because this happened, I'm going to say something about it. Who's cashing in?
You know what? I should have titled tonight's episode Emotional Casino because right there, those are bars. That's a gem right there, man. That is a gem. And I'm going to write that down because I need to add that to my toolbox. Emotional Casino. Oh, man. That's, yeah. Yeah.
And remember, when you're playing casino, who always wins?
The house.
The house
House always
always
wins.
wins.
Yeah. I'm not a gambling man. So I know.
Right.
Yeah. I know. And speaking of which, the problem is the rage becomes identity. People don't even believe what they post anymore, or at that point, they believe in winning the argument at all costs.
At all costs.
Yeah.
They don't research anything that they post. They just repost and go, this fits my agenda. This is what I've been told. Bam, repost, go. This is true. They don't even look to see if it's true or not. The
Yep.
freedom of speech was meant to create understanding. Okay? It was meant to create understanding.
Mm,
Get the truth out. Let both
right.
sides hash it out and get to the truth. That's
Mhm.
understanding. Now it's fuel for division.
Yeah.
It's completely the opposite of what it was designed for. It was designed to have us take differing ideas in a public place, be able to openly speak about it, and get to the truth of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't do that anymore. We're
No.
too many keyboard warriors.
Oh man. Mm, 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 mm. Mike, you said before, you said that America's biggest communication problem isn't censorship, it's classification.
Oh yeah.
I remember when you said that. And we don't debate ideas anymore. We just label people.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I
And I
mean,
and look, I won't dig into that, man, because right now It feels like every conversation, online or in person, breaks down into either name calling, violence, and all these things happen when people could just be reasonable. What are the main labels you see thrown around in every argument, and why do they carry so much power?
Well, first, that's a great way to frame it, okay? Because labeling has become the new censorship. You can't use the word censorship, but you can do something that acts just like it, but you can't call it that. So it does the same thing, but we're just going to call it something different.
The magic.
So look, you don't have to silence someone if you can
Mm.
discredit them. Think about
Mm.
that with a
Wow.
word, with a word. And look, there's hundreds of labels flying around.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
There's 5 of them that are like seriously hardcore on the top of the list that get used all the time. And you could go through and there's a ton of labels, a ton of
Right.
them. And most people that use these labels, they don't know what they mean. They have no idea what those labels mean.
Mm.
Okay? They have no idea. And each one has become a linguistic grenade. So they just toss it out there and boom. It ends a conversation instead of starting it. So let's break them down. So the first one, the biggest one we hear is like the zoom zoom. You know, when you're driving one of those things around the track, if you're one of those,
Mhm.
right, you get called that one. And we're not going to say the word because we don't want to get blasted for saying that word. But if I'm out there on a foot something or on a car something and it has an ist at the end of it, you kind of know what I'm talking about.
It starts with an
The-
R. Yeah.
That's the one, the R word, I'm going to
The
call it.
R word. Yeah.
And everybody knows what that one is because, man, it's like the nuclear button. Boom. Look, originally it describes someone who believed that one was superior to another.
Mhm.
A serious accusation that was tied to prejudice and discrimination. That was a serious accusation. Like it was hardcore.
Yeah.
But over time, it's been expanded to include almost anything that someone finds offensive,
Yep.
insensitive, or
Mhm.
just even old fashioned.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem is when everything is that, nothing is.
Mm.
If everything is the R word, nothing is. It has no more meaning. You just took the
Mm.
you took the teeth out of the tiger.
You just took the whole definition out of it, and it took the value away from it.
Right, because when you lose the ability to call out the true R word,
Mm.
because the word's been overinflated to cover disagreement, now you can have someone questioning things like affirmative action or immigration policy, and instead of hearing them out, they get called the R word, and there's no more conversation. So instead of having a conversation saying, look, here's the pros, here's the cons, let's talk about this and let's hash it out and say, oh, okay, it's exchange opinions and ideas.
Right.
What's the benefit of that? What's the con of that? So if you have a pro and a con, and you have both sides having a conversation,
Mhm.
that's dialogue. But when the moment the R word gets dropped, then there's no more conversation.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like that's ridiculous because being called that is just, oh my God, in today's world, seriously, that's just it's a waste of breath. And the moment that somebody throws that out there, you're like, man, you have no brain. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. There's a very distinct methodology that is used. It's called no platforming. That if you're in a public place
Mm.
and somebody wants to actively block you from speaking so that your opinion or your speech doesn't get out there, they'll just start screaming those words at you
Yeah.
because then they're
Yeah.
shutting you down so that you have no value, you have no
Mhm.
standing, you have nothing. That's called no platforming. And it is a part of a methodology that is used
Mhm.
to silence dissent.
That's so interesting that you say that, man, because I've seen so many videos where, like you said, two people or a few people, they get into a disagreement, or they start speaking on each other on their own opinion. And if somebody disagrees and they want to add a little energy behind it, They start spewing out the R word, and it diffuses and pulls the entire energy from the conversation. And it could be something as simple as stepping on somebody's shoe.
Doesn't matter.
I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute, where did that come from? Like,
we didn't
where
used
did that
to
come
win.
from? How did we get there?
We didn't used to win arguments that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous because it's conversation over. It's like done.
Mm.
And how do you have a conversation when that's once that goes out, you're like, really?
Yeah.
Now, are you just attempting to make me go on the defensive and have to try and defend myself and say, no, I'm not that?
Mm-hmm.
Look, I know that I'm not that. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm not that because I don't give a damn. I was raised in the Army, and the Army taught me I see one color and one color only. I see green. That's all I see. You are the person you are, no matter where you come from, what language you speak, what dialect you speak. Because I'm going to tell you what, there's a big issue between Northern folks and Southern folks that they don't like each other because of just language.
Yeah.
But in the Army, it taught me straight up, and that no matter what, it doesn't matter because together you all bleed red and you all fight in the same foxhole. So you better get over your mess and get along. We were taught we had to do that. That was just part of survival is to do that. But you get out and you're a civilian, you're like, my God, these people have no sense. Did you not realize the blessing that it is to be an American in the world? Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then come back, and you're going to have a new appreciation of how wonderful it is to be an American. And so stop pissing and moaning about this country, acting like we're so this and we're so that. We're the least R word.
Yeah.
Go somewhere where it really exists, and then come back and tell me that we're that. We are not that. And it's not systemic, because systemic means there's laws in place that make it happen. We have laws in place that make it not happen. So how can that even be the case? We're the country who stepped up and says we're going to get rid of that type of lifestyle. Who else has done that?
Well, that's a whole argument, man, we can have.
What I'm getting at is the problem is that the moment you start to have a difficult conversation about sensitive subjects, you're going to have people just throw the words out because they can't handle the debate. They can't handle a different perspective because it's so alien to them. They have to throw out something as it's a life or death at that moment, right? It becomes life and death to them.
True.
I'll have a different opinion with anybody, and I'll talk about any subject. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. Bring your best argument. Let me listen and hear, and I'm gonna try to give it value to understand that it might not be my perspective, but at least it is a perspective, and maybe I can learn from it because I don't know everything.
Absolutely, man.
That's why this stuff it gets me fired up because
look, I hear it. I hear that you're passionate, man. I hear it. And speaking of words, man, that particular word stops describing a mindset, and it starts being used as a muzzle, almost like crying wolf. Yes. Where you continuously cry wolf, and then you're not being heard.
And then when the wolf does come, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
Nobody's listening to you anymore because that's all you do. You're labeled as one of those.
Yeah.
Once you're labeled as one of those, nobody believes a damn thing you say. You just, in effect, cause yourself to have the same problem that you were trying to give the other person. Because you rattle that out there so much, nobody believes you anymore.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be around you because you're negative Nancy. They don't want to be around that. Look, it stops being moral language, it becomes a political language. Now you're saying, I'm going to do this to silence my political opponents?
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I got to breathe for a second because I get fired up on that one.
Oh man, take your time.
Oh, well,
the next word.
No, the next word. Well, the next word's not as bad. I don't find the next word to be as bad.
Right, but it's bad also.
It is.
I don't. Man. Yeah. That's one, listen, people. It's a W word and it rhymes with broke, right? It's a W word that rhymes with broke.
And if you're not asleep,
yeah, that. So this word is thrown around a lot. Also, it's thrown around a lot, and it was at one point. It was a hashtag. It was trending. It's trending because of some of the different things that you may see on the media, right? And it started out as awareness of social injustice. Now it's practically a slur word, depending on who says it.
I mean, it used to mean being alert to inequality or discrimination. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're alert, that's okay. But like all movements, it gets commercialized. Now everybody jumps on the bandwagon and it gets distorted. It gets polluted. It doesn't have the same meaning as it originally did. And then it gets like, if you understand what the word geek is, geek comes from a circus geek, and you'd pay somebody to bite a head off a chicken in a tent or do some crazy inhuman trick. But that's called a circus geek. And then what happened is,
whoa. Red flag. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Flag would play.
So that's
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what geek came from. Circus geeks. You go into a tent, pay a dime, and walk in a tent. You see somebody like bite a head off a chicken, do something crazy that you would never do yourself. So then we take the term and we have computer geek. So a computer geek is someone who does something that's totally alien to you. You would never do it yourself, but you pay them to do it for you. Then what happened? Best Buy stole the term and turned it into the Geek Squad and polluted it, ruined it, and sullied the name. It used to be a badge of honor to be a computer geek. But now, because of the Geek Squad out of Best Buy, it made it so that it's just yuck. It's yucky. It gives me bad taste. So that's called commercialization. So you take a good idea, you want to ruin it, commercialize it. You want to do what you love for a living, you're going to commercialize it, and you're going to hate it. You're going to pollute it and destroy it. So never do what you love for a living. Do what you're good at that makes you money for a living, and then do what you love on your time. That way you're always going to love it. You don't commercialize it. Word of wisdom there. So now it's both sides of taking that word and they pollute it. So if you're looking from one direction, it means you're conscientious, or you're empathetic, or you're weak, or you're soft, or okay. The other side, it means you're virtue signaling, or an authoritarian in disguise. So both sides have polluted the same word. They polluted it. The word becomes tribal code. So now we have the two tribes and we hate each other. And we're going to kill each other. Instead of describing a worldview, it describes what team you're on.
Right.
And once language turns tribal, conversation becomes warfare. Look, that's why I wore my Seahawks tonight, because I'm like, hey, go Hawks.
You came for the smoke.
But I came for the smoke. But here's the thing. I know that you're a Rams fan.
I know,
But here's the thing. We both love football. So we can have our rivalry, but we're nice about it. We don't try and burn the other team to the ground because how dare they even be able to play football? Well, if you do that, there's nobody left where you can play by yourself.
Right.
So come on.
Yeah.
You have to be able to not fall into the lazy trap. It's a lazy trap for lazy people. Throw a bad name out there, and it's easy to do because I'm too stupid to argue my point, so I'm going to throw a label out there. Just throw the label out.
Yeah, these labels are crazy. They're crazy, man. Whoop-de-doo. They're crazy. This next word is it's gained a lot of traction in the last 9 months, and it starts with an F-A.
Fa.
It starts fa and ends with an is.
Yeah, the fa. I like to call him the fa.
That's wild. That one gets thrown around constantly,
Oh
especially
my God.
online. Oh
Oh my
man,
God.
it's
Look,
everywhere, man.
if you're a Fafa, it used to mean something very specific. Okay. It
Mhm.
was a political ideology that's centered on authoritarian nationalism and state control. And there was two countries in World War II that were all about that. Now it's become shorthand for anyone who disagrees with me but still has power.
Mhm.
So wait a second, wait a second. Because you disagree with me, you're going to throw that out there? You have no idea that that means 100% government control. That's what that means. If you're a Fafa, you believe in 100% government control. You're right next door to the comics. You're
Yeah.
right next door to the comics. You're not on the other side or the opposite side, because if
Mhm.
you're the
Mhm.
opposite side, you're an anarchist and you believe in none of that. But
Right.
if you're a comic or a papa, you
Mhm.
believe in 100% government control. So
Right.
let's be real. If you're claiming that someone's a papa and you're a comic, you guys are on the same side. You're so close to each other. So how are you saying it's negative for somebody who's right next door as your next door neighbor? And the rest of us are over here in Liberty Land going, leave me alone. I don't want more control. I want less control. So it's hilarious because they don't even know what it means. Look, if
Mm.
someone supports stricter borders, because if you don't have borders, you don't have a country, you might as well just not even have one. You're labeled a fafa. And if you question policies, certain policies regarding who plays what sport, you're a
Yeah.
fafa. If you
Mhm. Mhm.
argue for traditional values and say,
Mhm.
look, I believe, and I'm just going to say, if you say this, if you say that I believe marriage is a certain thing, then
Mhm.
you're labeled a papa. And I'm like,
Mhm.
really? Are you serious? So you want more government control? That's all you're saying, but you're telling me what I want the government to stay out of my life, and you're telling me that I want more control. Then you're smoking some special kind of stuff, and you forgot to exhale.
Damn. Green for the special smoking stuff.
Right, but and you got to remember to exhale. If you're going to do that stuff, you can't hold it too long because it makes real things happen weird, right?
Right.
So when you start to dilute the words,
Mhm.
you recognize the danger that they once described.
Yeah.
I mean, a real fa thrives in that confusion. They want you to be confused because
Mhm.
guess what?
Mhm.
Nobody wins and they take control. So if you're over here screaming at each other, calling each other's names, they laughing their butt off, going, ha ha, idiots. They're
Yeah.
playing right into the playbook of confusion. Because then
Right.
they can step in and go, we are the solution to the confusion. More government.
Mm. More
We're the
government.
government and we're here to help. And we don't care if you're a comedian or a fafa, it's more
Yeah.
government, we're here to help. So
Yep.
they create the biggest problem in the world, and then they
Mhm.
have the solution for the problem they created. That's what
Oh.
happens.
Mm. Let me tell you, it's very interesting.
Look, when everybody's a
It.
fafa,
Yeah.
nobody's a fafa.
Nobody's about that. But in history, there was a set of people that supplied the ammo and the guns, and then they turned around, same people, and supplied the medical.
You got them coming and you got them going.
Yeah, I'm gonna just Oh,
Look, you
people, listen.
can't
This is
hear.
for entertainment purposes only. I don't know if I
It
said that
is.
in the
It
beginning.
is. It
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look, here's the thing. It's gotten to the point there now. I said it before and I'll say it again. We live in a country in the world that you can say, well, we have oppression. No, you don't. You're, the poorest person in this country is richer than 90% of the rest of the world. Read my lips. Go look that up. The poorest person in the United States of America is richer than 90% of the rest of the world. So if you're going to tell me that we're oppressive and then don't say it on your iPhone
Yeah.
while you're drinking your coffee from Starbucks And while you're over there typing away happily on Facebook, complaining about things and using your fancy, expensive laptops and all that, and with your nails done and your hair done and all your stuff, don't be saying out here how terrible our life is, because guess what? Go somewhere else.
And, you know, based on global economic statistics, it's either 3,000 or 5,000. If you have 3,000 or $5,000, I think it's 3,000. If you have $3,000 in your account, you are richer than 90% of the world. 90% of the world. $3,000.
But see, we're told the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Look, when the rich get richer, guess what? They're employing the other people who can get rich also. So if the rich aren't out there investing in the companies, nobody has a job, okay? So who's going to pay for your job that you don't have? I'm complaining I have no job. Why? Because I taxed the rich guy so he left the country, and guess what happens? I got no job. So I just screwed myself. And why is that? Because somebody told you that was what you're supposed to do.
Wow.
I thought it was really funny during a debate when someone says, you're not paying your taxes. And somebody else says, well, change the law. You were there for how many years and you never changed the law. I'm using the same law that your people did. I'm like, oh boy. And I don't mention names, but that was the funniest hell I've ever. I dropped my jaw. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny. I remember that.
Because then there was no response. There was no response.
Yeah. It was like, duh. What?
Going, duh?
Yeah.
What? Wait, what did you say? You admitted? Oh, damn. I didn't expect that. Just so funny. So funny.
Right. Man. Yes.
But this is the world we live in.
The world we live in.
Look, you can't even display your patriotism in this country without somebody pointing a finger at you and calling you a papa. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm happy and proud and blessed to be. I fought for my country and served because I'm proud of this country and what we stand for. That we stand for these freedoms that don't exist anywhere else, and certainly don't exist the way they exist here. So I'm happy and proud about that. That we take care of those who are disenfranchised. We do it better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So because we do, you're going to tell me that I'm wrong for supporting that? It doesn't make any sense to me. If you don't like it, just, okay, pack your stuff up and go over there for a couple of years and see how wonderful it is over there. It's a whole different world once you leave these borders of this great place.
It is. It is. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Man. The next word.
Oh, next one. This isn't so terrible because we're kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I still don't want us to say it.
No. But when the rain becomes cold and it's not sleet and it makes pretty little things and each one of them's unique, so you're unique. It's a counterpunch, right?
Right.
So it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Look.
We can say it, man.
Sure.
Snowflake.
It usually meant just somebody who's overly sensitive. That's all it meant. Yeah. Someone who can't handle opposing viewpoints. Well, we see a lot of them out there that they don't like to talk about anything that's outside of their little purview, right? So quickly turning away to mock vulnerability itself. Look, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable because it's human. We live in an age where emotional honesty is seen as fragility. You're fragile if you're honest about your emotions. Look, I was raised where you don't cry, you don't show emotions. But I learned throughout years that, you know what? There's a place for that. Yeah. And it means I'm human if I feel. And if I shut it off, I don't feel. So to call that name a negative name, it's easy to invalidate someone's experience, but you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right.
Let's go on to the next word. You ready to do the next one?
This is one of my favorite. Yeah. Conspiracy theorists. That one right there is probably one of the most misunderstood labels of all.
Right. And we've talked about that term and where it came from. And we had a part of one of our sessions where we did talk about that and says, it just used to mean a different opinion, but then it was labeled as, hey, this is a way to point someone else being crazy. Once you take someone who is and label them that, you just take all that they say and you just shut it off. They don't
Yeah.
they don't have any value anymore. Look,
Yep.
when we have a discussion and we talk about quantum computing and AI and
Hmm.
mass surveillance,
Yeah.
we are labeled as that. Many people
Right.
will label us as that because they don't like the fact that we're calling out the truth. When we talk about
Mhm.
what's happening in our structure, as far as the matrix and how it's growing and how Skynet is real,
Yeah.
we're told that we're crazy, we're conspiracy. Well, you know what? I
Mhm.
identify as a conspiracy theorist. You know what I identify as? Huh? You can call me I told you so. That's my pronouns. I told you
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Because
You
right
can.
now, all the
Uh-huh.
conspiracies for years and years ago, guess what? They're all true.
Yeah.
So the evidence out. So if you can call me conspiracy theorist, I'm going to tell you I
Mhm.
identify as I told you so. There you are.
He identifies as I told you so, and I identify as FAFO.
That's why I
Yeah.
like my machetes.
We love machetes.
I like my machetes.
Oh man.
So these are they're out there.
Yeah, that they are.
Hmm.
Yep. And that was what? That was five labels? Yeah.
Just five of hundreds.
R blank, broke with a
Yep.
W, Fafa, uh,
Papa.
uh, Snow and its uniqueness, and conspiracy theorists. And
Yep.
they're all shortcuts, right? They're
Yeah.
all shortcuts, emotional shortcuts, and shorthands for those who don't listen.
Yeah. They tell you don't listen to that person. I just called him
Yeah.
that. Don't listen
Mm-hmm.
to him.
Right.
It's called a conversational landmine. You throw it out there and discussion dies.
Yeah.
That's the tragedy. Once these words used to mean something,
Mm-hmm.
now they've been
Mm-hmm.
inflated, twisted, cheapened. They don't build understanding anymore. They build distance. They separate us.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Let's say our nicknames became labels. Oh, you're a sensei. Oh, you're a final boss. But used in a negative manner. Can you
Oh
imagine
yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Hmm.
crazy.
It's crazy.
And that's how society stops evolving. When people stop listening and start sorting and using words as labels.
Oh, there's a lot of labels that I don't like, and tell me, I get asked, "Are you one of these?" And I went, "Nope, I
Yeah.
do not identify as that because I will not be put in that box. My beliefs are bigger, broader, and have a lot more scope to them than that box."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, and the box I'm talking about is if you go to one of those buildings that has a little dealie on it, you go there every Sunday. I don't believe in the building.
Right.
I don't put me in that box and say that's your box. You live there because there's certain beliefs they have that I don't have, and vice versa.
Right.
My worldview is way bigger and way more expansive
Mm.
because I put my fingers in the matrix,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't. They don't talk about 50% of what makes us who we are because
Right.
that's taboo. You can't talk about. So don't put me in that box. I don't like
Mm.
boxes.
Yeah.
No, I am Big Mike. I am here, the sensei, and I am Bofa. My friends call me Bofa. I like to say that means big old fat ass, but if you're young, it has a different meaning.
I never called you that. You've always been sensei.
That's right. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
sir. That's the dialogue deficit, man. We stopped asking why and start labeling who.
Right. And the truth isn't found anymore. It's filtered through loyalty. That's it. It's just through
Mm-hmm.
loyalty.
Mm. That brings us
So
perfectly into our next
time. It
analogy.
brings us.
Time. Wow. What?
You're going to get tagged for running over. So we're going to have to do a little more on this one. It's not a lot, but we can take this section that we have left to talk about, and we can cover that in the beginning of our next section because
Okay.
it does have a lot to do with perspective
Okay.
and how you see things.
All right. All right. Thanks for the time check.
I don't want you to get in trouble. I know
No.
that if we run over, you get a
Oh,
ding ding in your mailbox that says bad you.
Yeah, I've been getting those. Oh man, yeah, I've been getting those. So yeah, thank you for catching that.
We have to be aware of the deplatforming. We have to be aware
Mhm.
of the environment we're working in. If
Yep,
you're
and we
not
don't.
aware of that
Yeah,
stuff,
yep.
then the problem is it's going to bite you. You're going to have things bad happen to you, and you did nothing.
Hmm.
And that's the problem. Who determines what you're doing is good or bad?
Right. We
Somebody
don't want to be
behind a desk somewhere? I don't want somebody to do that to us.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
So we're going to be gentle and careful, and we're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. And we're not going to go too far over an hour because they get mad.
Hmm.
They think we're a TV show then instead of a
Yeah.
podcast.
No mas, no mas, no mas. And listen, good people, thank you. That is the Sensei. And this was episode number 134, right? And we're going to continue some of this episode on our next Tech Tuesday episode. And, you need to let that marinate in your spine. Let it marinate in your spine. Hope you took some great notes tonight. We put a lot of good information out there. You have any last words before we go?
Yeah, this wasn't a total tech one, but it
Mhm.
has a lot to do with our language, and our language is important with how we operate in the tech world. So it
Absolutely.
wasn't specifically tech, but it does have a lot to do with what you see out there in this
The tech.
environment,
Yeah.
in the tech. So
Mhm.
this is good to draw your attention to that so that you understand what
Yeah.
it really means instead of just going, oh,
Yeah.
and not knowing how to respond, not knowing how to react.
And we're going to tie it all in on the next episode and make it more clear and give you vision clarity on the next one as we finish this conversation. Look, people, no matter where you are, thank you for joining us always. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to each and every last single one of you. We are here. I am here. And remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. And with that, be sure to be balanced, be equal, and be smart, and have a great night. This is the Final Boss Podcast. I am the Final Boss. He is the Sensei. This has been episode number 134 on our way to 200. This was freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. I hope you enjoyed the show. Have a good night.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, where microphones and mushroom clouds collide in the most mind-blowing chats. We're talking explosive topics, fiery debates, and the hottest guests. Imagine a creative space background, spacey vibes, and out-of-this-world conversations. It's like chilling with your best buddies, but with way cooler sound effects. Every episode, we take on the universe's biggest questions. You know, the stuff that keeps you up at night. And we do it with a bang. Want to know what happens when you mix gaming, movies, and pop culture? Boom! You get the Final Boss Podcast. So plug in those earbuds and get ready for a wild ride. Whether you're commuting, chilling, or just need a break, we've got your back. Hit that follow button and join us on this cosmic journey. Trust me, you don't want to miss these explosive chats. Catch the Final Boss Podcast now, where every episode is a blast. Stay tuned and stay awesome. Final Boss Podcast, bringing the boom to you.